Hi, when was Jesus born? We might think, oh, that's easy, Christmas Day, December 25th. The scriptures, however, doesn't give us a date, but does give indication when, and you might be very surprised. Now, I can't be dogmatic on this, but the likelihood is very high. Let me run these reasons by you, and at the end I'll share how we can apply this into our lives. Around the time of the birth of Christ, there were shepherds in the fields. This was in Bethlehem, a few miles south of Jerusalem in the mountains. Bethlehem means place of bread, and Jesus was the bread of life. Bethlehem is divided into two parts. One part is the desert. There's very little rain in the desert there. The other part, though, has a lot more trees and plants, and there's agriculture there. Israel truly is the land flowing with milk, land for the sheep or the desert, and honey, land for the agriculture. And Bethlehem is a perfect example of this. Now the fields are where the plants grow. These are not the desert places. They would plant a crop in November, so even though the sheep might have enjoyed being there and eating the plants, no farmer would have allowed them to be there and eat their crop. They could only be in the fields after the harvest to eat whatever little is left over and to fertilize the soil. So when did the Hebrews have crops in the fields? It was from November till the Feast of Shavuot, Pentecost in Greek. Watch this video about that. Shavuot is like our Thanksgiving. Shavuot is 50 days after the Passover meal. When was the Passover meal? On the 14th of the first month of Nisan. It's not a Japanese car, by the way, although the police in Israel do use Nissans. Passover is during our Easter. So let's say that Passover is about the beginning of April. Add 50 days to that to arrive at Shavuot or Pentecost, and you have around the middle of May. So the sheep were in the fields somewhere between the middle of May and the end of October. So that narrows it down and shows that December 25th could not be the birth date of Christ. Now, it gets a little technical. Let's see the approximate time of the birth of Christ. We'll try to keep it simple.
Well, I won't keep it for more than an hour or so if you give me your undivided attention.
Believe it or not, but the key is to know when Zechariah, John the Baptist's father, would have been told that his wife Elizabeth was going to have a son named John.
Now pay attention.
Notice in Luke 1 verse 5, Zechariah belonged to the priestly division of Abijah. Now what does that mean?
Now pay attention.
Well, there were many priests and all of them couldn't serve at the same time in the temple. So they divided this big number of priests into 24 divisions. Every division would serve about 2 weeks.
Pay attention, 007.
This all is explained in 1 Chronicles 24, a passage you might read over fast. But notice in verse 10 it said that the 8th division was the one of Abijah.
Thank you, 007.
That's the one of Zechariah. Now take 7, because 7 is right before 8, times 2, and rumor has that's 14. So Zechariah was serving in the temple after the 7th division, or after 14 weeks. So the 8th division would be week 15 and 16.
Now, pay attention, 007.
So now we have to go back to the first month in the Jewish calendar, Nisan, again, not a Japanese car, which starts around the 15th of March.
Now pay attention, 007.
Add to that about 15 or 16 weeks and you are around July. So Zechariah got his notice in July. Stay with me. We're getting much closer to figuring out about when Jesus was born. Now, here's my big assumption right now. I assume that Zacharias goes to his wife and that she gets pregnant within days. So his wife gets pregnant around July. Okay, we're almost there. I know this gets technical. We're almost there. Now later that year, Mary, Jesus' mother, gets told by the angel that she's going to have a baby, the Messiah. Can you imagine this for a young teenage girl? Well, she immediately goes to her relative Elizabeth, who is pregnant with John. The trip takes about a week. Elizabeth is in her 6th month, Luke 1 verse 36, of pregnancy. That's the key.
Now pay attention, 007.
So if Elizabeth gets pregnant around July, her 6th month of pregnancy will be around December or January. This is the time that Mary gets pregnant.
Now, pay attention, please.
A pregnancy is about 9 months, right? I've never been pregnant.
Try to be a little less than your usual frivolous self, 007.
But if Mary gets pregnant around December or January, we come to the conclusion that Jesus must have been born around September or October. So how does this apply to us?
Good. Right, let's get on to more practical matters.
In reality, it doesn't make much difference, but it shows us that a small detail in the Old Testament can provide the answer to a question that's far more significant. So study both the Old Testament as well as the New Testament. And don't think that one part of the scriptures is unimportant. It was all written for us. Now, I'm not trying to suggest that we don't celebrate Christmas on December the 25th. It's very common here in South America to celebrate birthdays not on the actual day. And the fact is that we still don't know the actual day. So December 25th is about as good as any other day. But I will say it doesn't fit the setting. So, God bless you. Bye-bye.